The Climate Action Reserve is the most experienced and trusted offset registry to serve the carbon markets. As more organizations look to combat climate change and support environmental projects with true integrity, they turn to the reserve to foster real solutions and reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. We are excited to kick off the second series of Carbon Connection and feature external partners with insights and expertise in particular climate sectors and topics across the carbon market. I am your host, Lauren Napuck, and thank you for joining us. If you are new to carbon markets, you've come to the right place. In this episode, we will explore the difference between voluntary and compliance markets and ways in which you can get involved. To start off, what are carbon markets? The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC as you may have heard, is a United Nations body that aims to advance scientific knowledge about human-induced climate change. Their most recent and sixth assessment report revealed the dire consequences of global warming, such as loss of life, ecological damage, and humanitarian crises. The report emphasized that restricting the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius instead of 2 degrees Celsius could make a significant difference. However, global emissions continue to rise despite the need for rapid reductions across all economic sectors. Carbon markets are trading systems using carbon as the commodity. These markets mobilize resources and minimize costs, allowing countries and companies to transition to a low-carbon future and achieve net zero emissions in the most efficient way possible. They also encourage innovation in ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and support climate action that can be taken now and can have an impact now. Because of all this, carbon markets are an essential tool to achieve global climate goals, particularly in the short and medium term. What is a carbon credit or offset? As a quick reminder, an offset refers to the reduction, removal, or avoidance of greenhouse gas emissions, measured in tons of carbon dioxide equivalent from a sector or region that is not subject to an emissions cap. Offsets enable key actors, such as foresters, farmers, and local communities, to generate revenue for the greenhouse gas reduction they achieve, while stimulating innovation outside of emissions caps. There are two types of carbon markets: compliance and voluntary. Compliance markets are established as a result of subnational, national, or international policy or regulatory requirements. Voluntary carbon markets refer to the issuance, buying, and selling of carbon credits on a voluntary basis. To review what a compliance offset market looks like, compliance carbon markets are marketplaces where regulated entities obtain and surrender emissions permits or allowances and/or offsets to meet predetermined regulatory targets. Compliance markets are critical because they represent climate action taken by governments or governing bodies. California's Cap and Trade program is one of the most well-known and extensively studied compliance carbon markets worldwide. It is a crucial component of the state's strategy to meet emissions reduction targets under its landmark climate laws AB 32 and AB 398. AB 32 requires reductions in greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels by 2020, and AB 398 authorized the extension of the Cap and Trade program and requires reductions in greenhouse gas emissions to 40% below 1990 levels by 2030. The Climate Action Reserve is proud to be an offset project registry under the California Cap and Trade program and Washington's Cap and Invest program. The Reserve meticulously reviews and approves offset projects to ensure adherence to the respective states' standards before sending them to the state for review and issuance of compliance credits. To share more about the voluntary offset market, the voluntary carbon market provides incentives for voluntary emissions reduction and financial support for emissions reduction activities outside of any regulatory requirements. Voluntary markets are essential because they support private action outside of government climate action, which is necessary to meet global emissions reduction goals. While compliance markets are limited to specific regions or sectors, voluntary carbon markets are significantly more fluid and can be accessed by every sector of the economy. Voluntary carbon markets have been around for over 2 decades, and the offset registries that serve as the backbone of the markets have a critical responsibility in driving emissions reduction efforts. With protocols adopted for use in the United States, Mexico, Canada, and soon to be across Latin America, the Reserve offers buyers the opportunity to find the most meaningful offsets in various sectors and geographies to meet their sustainability goals. With the voluntary market undergoing a significant expansion worldwide, efforts have increased to ensure that the market is equipped to play a critical role in global mitigation efforts. This has led to a variety of efforts to support this expansion, including the Integrity Council on the Voluntary Carbon Market, or ICVCM, and the Voluntary Carbon Market Initiative, VCMI, among others. Thanks for tuning in to learn more about the different types of carbon markets out there, and we'll see you next time.